You're listening to the Infinite Banking Mastery Podcast. Did you know that you could build a tax-free pool of wealth that's liquid and accessible all your life while building your retirement nest egg? Gain full control of your financial future and stop relying on the government and banks. The wealthy have already discovered this wealth-building secret. Now it's your turn to get financially secure without following the conventional wisdom that keeps you in debt to banks. Now here's your host, Valerie LaRocque.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Infinite Banking Mastery Podcast. Today, I wanted to cover something that you're probably thinking or have thought. It's probably crossed your mind. Why doesn't everybody know about infinite banking or the infinite banking concept? Why have not so many people heard about this? And whenever you bring it up to somebody, they maybe look at you like a deer in headlights or like you're completely nuts. Like, what are you talking about? And why would anybody do that? So I wanted to cover just my 2 cents on the topic and why I think some of the reasons are that not everybody knows about this, although it does take a long time for the masses to really get a hold of new ideas, I think as well. So I think really there's about 4 reasons why it maybe hasn't spread out there so much, although it is getting out there more. The first reason being what Nelson Nash would call the arrival syndrome, which is where the advisor already knows everything. I already know it all. What more could there possibly be for me to learn? I feel like I've got a good handle on this. This is sort of how I felt when I first met my mentor many years ago, about 12 to 13 years ago. When I first heard of this concept, I had finally gotten to a place where I felt very comfortable. I had many strategies to help somebody. I was comfortable with helping people with their market accounts. Also, those who had wanted to do life insurance, I was able to help people with using another very popular vehicle right now, the Index Universal Life Policy. I really liked that a lot. I was helping people with disability insurance, long-term care. I thought, you know what? I don't think I need a new strategy. I think I'm good. I don't need to know any more about what you're talking about. I think I've got this. I can help people, have many ways to help people, and whatever you're saying sounds complicated. So I think just a lot of advisors, when they're first approached with it, maybe more on the defense, like, what are you bringing? What's this new idea you're bringing to me? Why would I want to learn that? What is it? I'm already got all the ways, solid ways to help people, and I trust in those, and I like them, and I'm comfortable with them. I'm going to stick with the ways I already am used to helping people. So that's even how I felt when I first heard of this. When my friend and partner and mentor was sharing this with me, I was thinking, well, I don't think I need to know that. That sounds complicated. So I'm sure other advisors feel the same sometimes. Another reason why I think that there aren't more advisors out there teaching this is because once they do, if they do gain some interest and they say, oh, okay, well, what do I have to do to be able to teach somebody this strategy? Well, there's a whole lot to learn. There's a lot to learn to be able to teach it and to be able to help somebody well. A big part of the learning is being able to address someone's questions and some of the confusing parts of this strategy. It's really just describing and helping people understand. That's a big thing to be able to learn how to teach that. I'm sure some of you out there have tried to share this with somebody, your friend, a loved one, a family member, and have had a hard time describing it or get caught up when they ask a question that you don't know the answer to, an objection of some sort, and it makes you start to rethink what you're learning. And certainly, even when I started, even though I had been in this industry already almost 10 years, when I first started learning this, I was so excited. I wanted to share it with everybody. However, even I didn't have the best wording to be able to describe it to people. And so in the beginning, when I wanted to share this concept with somebody, I would just say, hey, you know what? This is amazing. This is worth your time. You really should take some time and read this book, Becoming Your Own Banker by Nelson Nash, and get back to me. And then I'm going to set up an appointment because I can't even teach it to you. I'm sorry, I can't teach it to you. I'm still learning myself. So I'm going to bring in my partner and he's going to teach you while I am there with you and able to help make sure the best questions are asked and everything for your best learning. But even I was too new and did not have the proper way to really explain the concept in the beginning. And so I can only imagine what those of you are out there excited and not even with years of knowledge in the financial industry and then trying to describe to your loved ones why this is exciting. Thankfully, my excitement did rub off on a lot of people, friends and family, and they took the time to read and then realized why I was so excited once we were able to go over it. But that's really how I got into this, was to just say, hey, you just got to read this. My partner won't even meet with you unless you read this book. And this is so powerful and so amazing. I just desperately want you to at least understand, even if you choose to do nothing. I think this should have been taught to you in high school. And so I think you should take the time. And I don't care if you do anything or not. I just think it's such valuable information that you should know about it. And so with needing that solid mentor to be able to learn well, to be able to teach it well, that does not happen for free. Having a solid mentor is not free. I know in this industry, it's confusing sometimes. How do I learn how to do this and that? Really, if you're going to bring in a partner, they're going to have to get paid. And so my mentor, we were not of the same agency at the time. That also has an impact on the pay and how that's all going to work out. And so at the beginning, he was on every single case that we wrote that he helped me with. He was on all my cases. And then after that, he asked me if I wanted more of a partnership where I could ask questions at any time besides only just sit in on cases, so that I could learn by listening to him. And so, yeah, I absolutely wanted to do that. I wanted to be able to have that resource of information. And so at that point, I split every single case with him, whether or not I needed his help. His name went on every single one of my policies for each of my clients, even with stuff that I've been doing for years and had no trouble with and needed no help with, because learning this is not going to be free. So now, once an advisor has established a good solid mentor and is going to have that help learning so that they can learn and teach well, teach the concept, teach what's happening, and also be able to build the policy correctly for clients, now they have to be able to teach the clients. And that's a whole nother ballpark, because the client has to be willing to learn something new, to take the actions needed to have an understanding of this, possibly read a book. That's the best way. I know a lot of people are out there listening to podcasts like mine and other things to try to gather information. I really do think learning from Nelson Nash, who put this idea and this strategy and this concept out there, is one of the best, if not the best, resource to learn this from. So having to teach the client and encourage them and entice or inspire them to read a book, that can be a challenge. And finally, once you are rocking and rolling, you've got this down, you've learned, you've been mentored, you've got the clients to learn. When we're structuring these policies, which I'm sure many of you have heard before, they are being structured in such a way that the commissions for the advisors or the agents are lower. That's part of the reason why your money is growing better, because we are structuring it in such a way that causes the pay for us to go down by a lot, actually. Of course, people are so excited by this concept that oftentimes they end up funding a policy a lot higher than they otherwise would have, because they're using it now as a funding vehicle for their future purchases, for college for their kids, their retirement, all sorts of reasons. And so they are going to desire to fund the policy higher. But when you're just looking at it and you're comparing the structure of a $20,000 a year premium or something from an IBC policy and a non-IBC structured policy, the commission is going to be a whole heck of a lot lower. So in summary of these reasons, again, I think a lot of advisors might have the arrival syndrome, where they just feel like, already, I know it all and I don't need to learn anything new to be able to help people. I am doing a great job as it is. Number two, oh man, I got to learn a lot. I've got to acquire a mentor. I've got a lot of learning to do to be able to teach this to other people. I've got to pay this mentor. And then after all that, I've got to be able to teach the client. I have to be able to encourage them to read a book or do some learning and not just depend solely on me teaching. Whenever I have help clients that are depending solely on me teaching them from a 100% cold state, it doesn't usually go well. They feel this is too good to be true. It gets confusing. There's too much going on. Definitely takes some foundational learning. So the advisor says, oh my gosh, I got to learn all this stuff. I got to get a mentor. I got to pay that mentor lots of money over time to be able to learn this. Then I have to teach the client something that they may or may not be excited to learn. And maybe they don't like to read. So it's going to be hard for them to read this book. It might take a while. And at the end of the day, I'm going to get paid less than what I normally would on a life insurance contract. No, thank you. I'll pass. And those are the reasons why I think, of course, I'm not all knowing, but these are the obstacles I can see as being a stumbling block for many advisors to get into this. However, I will say again, there are many people out there getting excited and wanting to teach this to many people. And I think that's great. I just think that they need to make sure they have a strong mentor, because getting excited and just going out and teaching based on reading the book a few times yourself or being a licensed agent and feeling like, oh yeah, I can do this, it can be catastrophic to the future of your policy if it's not built well from day one. So that's all I have for you today. I'm going to leave you with this quote from an EBA article in Fortune magazine from 1993. This is also from Nelson Nash's book. It's just a really good quote where it says, if you understand what's happening, you'll know what to do. And I think so. I think as soon as you learn this and you really have an understanding, you'll know what to do. You'll know how much you want to fund. You'll know what will make the best sense for you and your budget. It will all become more clear once you have a really good understanding. Well, as always, if you would like my help, if you would like to work together on a plan for you or you and your family, I would be happy to connect with you. You can reach out to me at Valerie@alphaomegawealth.com. I look forward to talking with you. Until then, I hope you have a great week, and I will talk to you again next time. Take care.
This is the podcastfactory.com.